That was an era, I truly believe when I think back about it. We had just dropped the horses. My dad had stopped talking about horses. And of course, the automobile age was upon us. Model Ts, Model As, and little Chevys and stuff. And this was my era. The first time I had an opportunity to run at the Dry Lakes was 1934. And the dry lake we ran on that particular year was what is now Edwards Air Force Base. In them days, it was Muroc Dry Lake. And I had a golden opportunity to drive my brother's 28 Chevrolet Roadster. He and I were working on it. He got a little nervous or scared. He had the foot shakes. And I said, well, heck, I'll drive it. So I got a chance to drive it 92 miles an hour. And what a thrill, with leather helmet, no roll bar, nothing.
Well, the Dry Lake was a unique situation because it was the only place that was available where you could take your car and run the thing and extend it for miles and miles. The early pioneers, I guess, who went to the Dry Lake were people who had Model Ts and four-cylinder Chevrolets. Most of them were cars that were driven on the street, but when they would get up to the Dry Lakes after an all-night drive across rutty roads in the desert, well, the first thing you would do would be to catch a little bit of sleep, and then before sunrise, take off the fenders, take off the running boards, take off the headlights, take off the windshield, strip the car down, and get it so that it was race ready.
It was a calling, and I think everybody that initially started in this sport, that they had the same type of calling. They were interested in automobiles. And my first experience was you had to go up over Cajon Pass. And Cajon Pass, for anybody that lives in Southern California, knows that it's can be hotter than hell. And so we had to go over there at nighttime. And then you attempted, in 2 or 3 shots, you made it up over the hill without boiling all the water out of your car. Anyway, over the hill and down. And the first time you go out, you really don't know how to find the Dry Lakes. It's just a place out in the desert, and you know it's by a town called Adelanto, so you can find that with the signs going to it. Finally, we got onto the lake, and it was just like we had driven into a gigantic expanse of open, flat dirt. And the headlights on the car, it was very dark, and the headlights on the car were limited to how much area they could cover, but there wasn't anywhere you could drive that you didn't have a flat, smooth surface to run on.
Well, the Dry Lakes Race Course, of course, if you have ever seen a dry lake, or it's just a great big flat alkaline body, and you pick the best spot, you make some trial runs and see where it's fairly solid, and then they would set up a row of cones with a trap at the end. You run down through the row of cones, and they caught your time down at the end.
The cars were classified according to the speed that they ran. And if you ran 86 mile an hour, why, your race was in the 80 to 90 mile an hour class. It was a mixed bag. There was no attempt to classify the cars other than their speed performance. And there was no attempt to supervise safety. It was just left to every individual to have his car safe and drive it safely.
The attraction, I think, was as racing is today. It's a challenge to compete. Like any phase of racing, it's just a challenge to do better and do what you can.
Very early racing, when I first started, there were no prizes at all. They gave you a little metal tag. I should have had one here to show you. There's a little brass tag, and it had on there where the race was being held and the date, and the class of car that you were running and the time that you achieved. It didn't say whether you were first place or 20th place, it just gave you your time. later on, the fellas started chipping in money for entry fees, and that gave us a source of funds to buy trophies with.
The Southern California area was very active as far as car clubs were concerned. There were clubs in San Diego and Los Angeles and areas all around there with names like the Low Flyers and the Night Riders and the Hot Irons and the Roadrunners and so forth. And they were primarily groups that met for various reasons. They'd put on cruises and reliability runs and things of that nature. And periodically, when there would be a race up at the dry lakes, they would converge up there and take part in those events. There was very little organization at the time. It was just a matter of finding somebody who had some type of timer and then organizing the race. So in 1937, these clubs, about 20 of them in number, got together and actually formed the Southern California Timing Association, which was the first organization of its type in the so-called hot rod activity. The name hadn't come up yet, but they got together and formed this organization, and its principal function was to produce and conduct the races at the dry lakes on usually a 4 times a year basis.
Over a period of time, we enacted rules for competition cars, to certain of the competition cars, to have rollover bars. Seat belts became a must. Proper construction of the car, and we'd have a technical committee that would look at the car to feel that if we let it run, that it would go down through the traps without creating a problem.
A very primitive operation, but one that had a magic to it, that once you're up there, well, you could hardly wait until the next opportunity to go back and run your car again, or just go up and be a spectator.